Now, before I conclude, I want to touch on one more issue that is near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is the Jewish state of Israel. As I've said before, I approach policy and politics through a distinctly Jewish lens, and I am so fortunate to have a job where I can bring my love of Israel to work with me every single day. As a Jewish mother, it is a personal imperative that my children grow up in a world where Israel is safe, secure, and strong. Since 1948, thank you. Since 1948, when the U.S. became the first nation to recognize Israel, we've always stood by her side as a strong ally and friend. And yet Israel faces enemies in the form of rocket attacks from Hezbollah and Hamas, delegitimization at the United Nations, and global anti-Semitism. With all of these impediments to peace, all of us, Democrat, Republican, and Independent, must make it our mission, first and foremost, to protect the Jewish state. That's why I'm so proud that the President and the United States government are committed to our special relationship with Israel, especially in the face of these challenges. Now, I know that many of you have received the insidious emails and heard the deliberate distortions of our President's record on Israel, because I've heard them too. In Washington, we have vigorous debates and intense disagreements on plenty of issues, but the one truly bipartisan issue has always been the Jewish state of Israel. Democrat or Republican, we can all agree on the importance of strong U.S. support for Israel. Thank you. That is why Israel should never be used as a political football strictly for partisan gain that only puts the Jewish state at risk. Thank you. Unfortunately, the distortions are still out there, which is why we must stand with our President and his stalwart support of the U.S.-Israel relationship. Once you hear the facts, I urge you to spread the truth about the President's record so that the mischaracterizations stop, and that they stop here today with all of us. The President's unwavering commitment speaks for itself. Because of his leadership, we have provided billions of dollars in U.S. aid to Israel, funding military projects to ensure Israel's safety, and safeguarding Israel's qualitative military edge over her neighbors. In fact, the President and Congress have raised U.S. military assistance to unprecedented levels, sending Israel the largest ever security assistance funding in 2010, and raising that to $3 billion for 2011. Thank you. And that's in spite of a very difficult economy. President Obama has made it undeniably clear in front of the entire world that his administration does not accept the Palestinian Unilateral Declaration of Independence at the UN, nor any approach to a two-state solution outside of direct bilateral negotiations. Thank you. The United States has been leading the diplomatic effort against this resolution, and throughout the UN General Assembly meetings this past September, the President stood with our ally Israel against this unjustifiable action by the Palestinians, and he will continue to stand against that. And as a result of our unwavering determination to prevent a nuclear Iran and the President's efforts to form an international coalition of partners, including China and Russia, the United Nations Security Council passed the most comprehensive and biting international sanctions that Iran has ever faced. Deservedly so. President Obama and Congress have been working hard to deter Iran's nuclear ambitions. But funding and sanctions cannot protect Israel from global anti-Semitism, nor can it stop dogmatic and unjust attacks on Israel at the United Nations. That is why we must continue to stand strong together to protect the U.S.-Israel relationship so that all the people of Israel may go from strength to strength. Thank you. Our faith inspires us to do great things. From our commitment to service, to our political advocacy, to our cultural contributions to this nation. But perhaps the greatest gift of our tradition is the emphasis on the fact that nothing that we do can be done without community. From studying, to storytelling, to praying, to mourning those who have passed away, Judaism is simply something that you just cannot do alone. There is a powerful message in the fact that you need a community present for any milestone, good or bad. I believe that that community exists in a broader sense, encompassing all who would walk with us on the path toward peace and justice. With all of the problems that we face, trying to fix them all can seem a little bit overwhelming sometimes, but the amazing work that you do embodies the notion that the world will be a better place when each of us does our own small part to make a positive impact on the world. So, While saving the world might seem like an inconceivable feat, repairing the world is an attainable goal if we each do our own part. Together, we must continue to heal our world for our children and all future generations. You represent the Jewish leaders of our country, and we are counting on you to speak out and support the policies that will move America in a new direction. I urge you to stay involved in the Federation and in your community. Of course, I'd love to see all of you get involved in the work we're doing in Washington, but your work doesn't have to be political. What is important is that you are passionate about the issues close to your heart. Like many of you, my wonderful Jewish parents raised me to believe that I could achieve anything that I set my mind to. That was many a dinner table conversation growing up for me. And you're all laughing because you have the same ones with your kids. Because of this belief, I had the desire, the nerve, and the will to run for office in Florida when I was just 25 years old. I chose to serve in public office because I realized that young people needed a stronger voice in our government. My Jewish identity has been a huge part of my work as a member of Congress, and the Jewish Federation has been a catalyst in furthering so many of these issues near and dear to my heart and the hearts of my constituents. I hope this year's GA inspires you to get involved so we can all work together to create a more perfect union. Thank you, and Am Yisrael Chai.